Hello and welcome to Access Paranormal. Well, just me and you, Jonathan.
I know.
But anyway, Marie couldn't make it again tonight.
Babysitting.
No, she's not too good, to be honest with you. She's had this cough, so she
She
apologised for not being here. She's got this tickly cough and she thought it might be a bit difficult doing it. So anyway, let's hope she gets better soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, tonight it's just me and you, like I said before. We're going to have a little bit of a chat about different things. We've also got the Common Mystics
with the Boo review.
Exactly. So thanks to Jenny and Jennifer over there in America, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And this week it's called the Ghosts of Steelman's Treasure.
Sounds good.
It does, and I know you say sounds good. We don't listen to it, do we?
No.
Not
until the show actually comes on.
Exactly, and then we can be part of the show.
Yeah.
I know it sounds a bit what's the name, where we're sitting in the house listening to our own show, but I do it because I find my mistakes and then I go, alright, I'll learn from that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're 100 odd shows in now. I should have learned by now, shouldn't I?
Should be experts by now, really, shouldn't we? But
yeah, I think we're going to be about 500 shows before we even sound professional, aren't we?
It's a podcast, isn't it? Come on.
It's a podcast. It's a radio show.
Yeah.
It's a bit of fun. And that's what it's all about, isn't
it?
That's it. Real. And talking about it being a bit of fun, I'm going to go into a little bit of a serious side here, Jonathan, before we go on to the other stuff. And recently I've been a little bit disappointed on Facebook seeing people having a go at other people in the paranormal world and naming names and that. And I'm not going to name names because that defeats the object, because I'm respectful for everyone. You know, I don't judge people.
No.
I've got to get to know them before I judge them.
Yeah.
And you know, to see people having a go at people, you know, in public it's a bit unfair. I know people are going to say, well, it's none of your business and anything like that. It is when it comes up on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see it. I really don't want to see it. There's enough out there to just go and get on with it. If you don't like someone, just don't follow them.
It's as simple as that. Don't follow them. Don't watch them.
Yeah. I mean, we do it. We go out. We do paranormal investigations ourselves.
We do, yeah. Access Paranormal Investigate, YouTube.
Access Paranormal Radio, and
Access Paranormal Podcast, all on YouTube.
Yeah. So get down there, like, subscribe, and get them notifications out there.
Yeah.
Beat you to it. Yeah. So, you know, please, let's all be respectful to each other, because it's nice to see people working together. And I don't know whether you've noticed, and I've noticed it, you know, when groups come to Mill Street.
Yeah.
Because we do open the door, and we like, you know, we're there to meet and greet. More people, it's becoming to a point where some groups are struggling to get customers.
They are. I don't know whether it's since COVID, the cost of living, and you know, and people have busy lives.
Yeah. I mean, we get all that.
Yeah.
But you know, it'd be nice to see groups working together.
It would. Do you know what? The groups that get more enjoyment, the public will get more enjoyment. And if you're doing it for YouTube and stuff, everyone's going to just enjoy it more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's entertainment. You know, at the end of the day, it's entertainment. It is serious.
It is, yeah.
And we do take it serious, like everybody else takes it serious. There are people out there who will enjoy it just for the fun of it, and
that's fine.
That's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we get on with a lot of groups. I like getting on with groups, and we like going with groups, and hopefully they like going with us.
Yeah.
Even if we can talk forever. And that's what it's all about. It's not about who's better than who.
No.
We're all equal.
There's plenty of room for everyone. That's the way I see it.
We're all equal.
Yeah.
We're all doing the same thing.
We're all after the same result.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And whether you've had 20 years experience, whether you've had 30 years experience, or whether you've had 1 year experience.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
It's all about getting out there, enjoying themselves, and being with other people,
Yeah,
making friends as well along the way.
It's socialising as well,
It
isn't
is.
it? Gets people out there.
And you mentioned it off air, para-unity.
It is para-unity, yeah. That's what that
Yeah.
is what it's all about.
Supporting each other.
Well, there's a lot of parameets going out there as well, isn't there?
Yeah, I like that.
That is a good thing.
Yeah.
Getting all the different groups and event companies and, you know, get them all in one place, get them all together, get them all talking.
And that way,
it might drive the prices of all these big
companies.
The big venues. All these big venues that charge an awful lot of money.
Yeah. Some of them are extortionate.
Way overpriced, some of them.
Yeah.
Maybe if everyone got together, maybe we had to drive some of the prices down.
So, yeah, and so they should.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not fair, really, is it?
We understand a little bit of a price rise.
We do, yeah. It's got to happen, hasn't it? The prices of everyone's bills have gone up. Companies, people's own bills, all the rest of it. And, yeah, that cost's got to be covered somewhere. So, yeah, people have to put prices up.
And the good thing with doing this show and doing the podcast is, you know, we have a good view of the people out there because we've got, you know, we've got interviews with people.
Yeah.
We see it from their point of views, and it's good. And we've learned a lot from these people as well.
We have that.
And so, you know, instead of going onto Facebook or wherever you put them and slating people, let's just, if you don't like them, just don't follow them. Just don't
watch them.
Just don't watch them. It's as simple as that. Let's just be respectful to everyone. Let's everyone be respectful to us. That's all it's about. Let's make friends, not enemies.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's finish on that note, eh?
Yeah.
So anyway, we've been doing a few interviews for our Access Paranormal podcast on YouTube.
We have.
And the last couple of weeks we've had some really good ones. We've had some really good ones from like York.
Yes.
So that was a good one. But we've also Paul Allen.
Unusual things.
Yeah, that's where he goes visiting graves of those celebrities and people who are quite significant.
Yes.
And I quite like the way he does it. It's simple, easy to follow.
Very respectful.
He's one of the most respectful people I've ever seen or met.
He is.
And when we interviewed him, he was like, it was funny because I've got to say this is, we were on Zoom.
Yes.
And it says you can use these backgrounds.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it, Jamie?
It's great with one person, but when there's two of us sitting there and the backgrounds were like vanishing, appearing, vanishing.
Every time you moved, even like a millimetre, one of yours vanish.
Or your head disappears and your body stays there.
Yeah, it's quite fun.
Go and have a watch of it. It's quite entertaining.
Yeah.
And that happened when we were doing the interview with Paul.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I didn't even see. If that had been me, I'd have been laughing and saying, "Don't worry, lads, it is quite funny now." But he was such a nice fella. He was so respectful, and he went, "Do you want me to just wait and get sorted?" And all this lot. Just carry on, Paul.
He even said at one point, didn't he? "Do you want to start again?"
Yeah. And I'd already been talking to you about 20 minutes before we'd actually done the interview. We could have done the interview without you, and then I wouldn't have disappeared off the screen. But what a lovely fella. Yeah, it's entertaining. What a lovely person he was.
Wasn't he just?
He was superb. And
when you think when he what was it he was saying when he started that channel, it wasn't just to do celebrity graves. It was unusual things like places and people, and YouTube just took him down that route. It seemed to just take off, and people were really interested. So that's what he did. But then he told us about his other passion, didn't he? Yeah. Which we didn't know about.
Paranormal analysis.
Paranormal analysis of paranormal.
Yeah.
Which he's done for over 20 years.
Yeah.
So
we'll be
show,
quite involved at times with Paul.
Yes.
I'm actually going to meet him, aren't I?
You are.
So I'm feeling a bit privileged with that because he's a really nice fellow. I know he's going to go. I'm just
Jamie.
I'm just Paul. Yeah, you can't go, can you?
I'm stuck that weekend. I'm babysitting that weekend.
That's a shame, innit?
I'm saying all that. Anyway.
Well, if you're a busy man, like you're not going on holiday again, are you?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
No.
I can't
just been
talk.
to Ireland.
I can't talk. I'm going away for two weekends in a row.
Well, I've just been to Ireland, which brings me on to the other little bit about Paul Allen, because he's doing a bit of a Titanic series, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
And I've been to the Titanic Museum in Belfast.
You certainly have.
What?
Jonathan helped build the Titanic.
Yeah. What a wonderful experience that was.
Yeah.
It's just been so well done. It's unbelievable. It really is. We spent the whole day in there. Literally the whole day.
Wow.
Absolutely brilliant. It's on about 5 or 6 levels. It's huge.
All about the Titanic.
All about the Titanic. And it's actually, the museum is actually built. When you go up to a certain part of it and you look out the windows, that's where the Titanic and the Olympic went down the slipway.
Right.
So it's actually built on the dockyard.
Did you know in Liverpool there's a building they call it the Streaky Bacon? Have you seen it where it's like, it does look like Streaky Bacon, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, the middle floor there, the middle window and the middle balcony, that's where it was announced officially that the Titanic sunk.
Right.
That's where it was first announced.
Oh, wow.
So we've got a connection to the Titanic. And it's obviously there's the memorial. There's a big connection here. Yeah,
Harlan's and Wolf was in Liverpool.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting.
Yeah, but it was a really interesting experience. I'll definitely go back again.
Yeah.
I will go back again. And you got to go on the. It was like a launch boat. I'm going to say a launch boat. It was like the size of the Mersey ferry.
Yeah.
Which is opposite the museum in like a dry dock. And that was the boat that took people like onto the Titanic.
Was it?
Or took them off.
Right.
It's like the little so
that was the actual boat.
It was the actual boat, and you go. It's all original inside, but that's where the likes of all the celebrities that were going on it. That's where they. That's how they got onto the Titanic and stuff.
Through that boat.
And then actually went into the drawing offices of Harland and Wolff, which is actually now the Titanic Hotel. So we went in there and had something to eat and drink, So it's like a big posh hotel.
I bet you Paul Allen, Unusual Things, actually done that as well.
He probably has, you know. Well worth it.
Yeah, and he was brilliant. So a huge thank you to Paul for taking the time to come on the show.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it and you want to go and see it, get onto our YouTube channel, Access Paranormal Podcast.
Yeah.
Paul Allen's on there, and so there's somebody else as well.
There is.
And we were talking once, weren't we? We were saying we should interview these urban explorers as well.
Yeah.
Because they must have a few stories to tell about the paranormal. And what made me think about that is one which I watch, and they're called Finders Bleepers.
Yeah. Love them.
Yeah, they're very good, aren't they? Well, it's
moment.
Just him at the moment, isn't he? Andy's not there at the moment, is he?
No.
Hopefully he'll come back.
Hopefully he does.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's still good, but not the same. It's no banter.
No. And you've got to feel sorry for, what's his name?
Matt.
You've got to feel sorry for him.
Yeah, you've got to, you know.
Working hard.
Do you know what though, Jamie?
Yeah.
Some of the places he's going in.
Ooh, we wouldn't do it.
You know way you'd see me in there. He went to, it was like a police station come prison, loads of cells.
Yeah.
So he climbs in through this window, goes in, has a wander around and all the rest of it, and he's like upstairs, and there's like 2 floors of these cells, and he's on the top floor, and he's at the furthest end on the stairs.
Brave man.
On his own. The building's huge.
Yeah.
And he heard a couple of noises he was going around. There was a growl, and there was definitely a voice of a girl. Right? But while he was up these stairs at the furthest end from them, you could hear a man shouting, walking round, banging doors.
Like a prison warden or prison...
Yeah, but no, it wasn't paranormal, it was a real person.
Was there?
Yeah.
What did he do?
He was cacking himself.
Did he get out
And he
again?
stayed up there for a while until it had calmed down. Because there was only one way in and one way out.
Right.
And the one way into the bit where he was through a window. But then you have to go through another bit and get out another window.
Yeah.
So we just stayed put for a bit. If it was me, that's... I don't suppose it's the most dangerous situation he could put himself in, being in some of these.
I wonder why this fellow was going along, slamming the doors. Was he doing an investigation, a paranormal investigation?
It was in Scotland.
Right, okay.
So it could have been homeless or drugs.
Could have been anything, couldn't it?
It's dangerous.
Yeah, I'm going to have to watch that now. You know, you've got me wanting to watch that one now.
You've definitely got to watch that.
The reason why I brought Bleepers up, Finders Bleepers, is they had a paranormal experience when Andy was there as well. Quite early in the start of the Finders Bleepers, when he went to a house in Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I think they were at the bottom of some stairs. And he was just showing it round like cameramen do. They just show you and move around. Yeah. But they captured a shadow.
Figure.
Or a figure, yeah.
Definitely. It was very apparent.
Yeah.
Very real. But it was definitely a shadow. And you could definitely make out.
I've seen the footage.
It was a person. You've seen it, haven't you?
Yeah.
On Nuke's 5.
Yeah.
Nuke's Top 5. But it seemed to go out. So you've got the staircase that goes up.
Yeah.
And it's not very wide. Say like a hospital stairs going up where it goes up all the floors. And this was at the top, very top. So as you go up the stairs, there's only like, I don't know, 6 foot wide landing.
Yeah.
To go onto like a corridor. One way. And the outer wall of the building the other way. But it would come out from the corridor, if you like, of the building. But it went straight across and then disappeared. Never came back. So how does it go through the outside wall?
You can't explain that one, can you?
You can't. You can't explain it at all.
Yeah.
And it wasn't... They don't do paranormal. Do you know what I mean?
But that was paranormal.
That was definitely paranormal.
Yeah. And going on to, we were talking, because we love going off on a tangent, don't we?
We do.
We like that even when we're chatting off there.
Yeah.
And we were talking about these urban explorers and saying, let's get some of them on, because they must have experiences, and hence Finders Bleepers have done it.
Yeah.
And we also got hold of a local lad.
We did. A local Scouse lad.
Yeah. Dave O'Connor.
Yeah.
Or as everybody would know him as, Exploring with Me Dave.
Yeah.
Which is the best title. Great title, isn't it? Exploring with Me Dave. I would have gone Paranormal Investigations with Me Jamie. You know. Because it just wouldn't happen.
No.
But we got him on YouTube as well, didn't we? Had a nice chat with him on the radio on YouTube and that.
Yeah.
We asked his paranormal experiences, and although we didn't have loads of them, he did say there was times where... Yeah. And we're going to get out with him as well. We're going to be going out and we're going to do an investigation with him.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And he came here. He came to Mill Street Barracks.
Yeah.
We do our little podcast and radio stuff and that. And he actually saw a shadow.
He did.
He actually saw it, but he didn't mention it because he wasn't sure.
Yes.
It was only when we said something near the door and he went, "I've seen it."
Yeah.
And so it was good that he'd seen it, but then he went off on his own.
I know, yeah.
For an hour, doing it for his YouTube channel.
In the dark.
I know. So Dave, hats off to you as well, mate.
Yeah.
Can't believe he did it.
Definitely.
But
he was lovely though, wasn't
he? He was brilliant, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And we've also got Julie Malone.
From that well-known
TV show.
Documentary style.
Yeah.
TV show.
Yeah, so we can't mention it for legal reasons.
Yeah. But it's on a Friday night at 9 o'clock.
Is it? Okay. And she's got her own paranormal group.
Yes.
So keep an eye out, because we are doing a podcast with Julie.
Yeah.
And we've got a nice little interview with her. It's the second time, so it's it'll be a nice catch up, because the first time we interviewed Julie she was just starting off in the paranormal.
Yeah.
And I nabbed her, didn't I?
You did.
So it'd be nice to do like a part 2 where we catch up with Julie and how it's changed that.
That was funny when we first met her, though.
Don't even go there. I know what you're talking about, don't you? When I said to remind me of something, I forgot all about it.
No.
Which one?
No. Because you got here first, hadn't you?
Oh, right, okay.
And you think you've been sat with her for about half an hour, chatting away.
Yeah.
And then I came, and I seen you chatting away to her. And I'm like, recognise her from somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I watch that show all the time. Always have. And I thought, I know that face from somewhere. And then he heard her talking about dogs that she had. And then it sort of clicked in my head. And I think I sat down with you then, and I was chatting for a bit. And then she goes and gets on with the event. And we goes and sits down and just chatting away. And then Marie comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you don't really watch TV that much, do you? But I know Marie watches it.
Yeah.
And I said to Marie, I said, is that Julie Malone off such and such?
Julie and Tom, yeah.
And she said, yeah, it is, yeah. And I can't believe that you've been sat there for over half an hour chatting and gabbing away to her and you didn't even know it was.
Yeah, you know what I'm like, though.
But she doesn't make a fuss, though, does she?
No, she's such
really
a lovely lady.
Down to earth.
You ever meet her, she's just...
Yeah, just like they are on that show.
Yeah, there's no fakery about her whatsoever.
No, definitely not.
Such a lovely lady.
Yeah.
So, we've got an interview with her coming up, which is great, a podcast.
Yeah.
So, it will be nice to catch up with her. But, Jonathan, what we're going to do for the listeners is we're going to give them a break from our voices.
Right, okay.
Or yours, anyway. We're going to play the Boo review, which Jennifer and Jill sent off to us.
Yeah.
All the way from America.
I know.
So we've got them coming up. We've got them, which we're so grateful to have.
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer.
The stories are fantastic, and you're going to find out now how good they are at putting these together. So, Jennifer and Jill, this is their Boo review, and it's called The Ghosts of Steelman's Treasure.
From Common Mystics Media, this is the Boo Review. I'm Jill Stanley. Good evening. Tonight's story unfolds amidst the relentless rhythm of crashing waves on the gloomy Atlantic coastline. Based on an article originally published in the Atlantic City, New Jersey Sunday Gazette, dated October 21st, 1894. This is a riveting tale of intrigue, avarice, and dread, where the allure of an elusive Steelman's treasure ensnares four men, plunging them into a night teeming with uncanny incidents. Their resilience is put to the ultimate test physically and mentally, pushing their bravery to the brink. Tonight's presentation narrates their chilling encounter. For more details, please welcome Jennifer James at the bulletin desk. Jennifer?
Thanks, Jill. It all started in autumn of 1894 with two old friends talking in a bar along the boardwalk of Atlantic City, New Jersey. Lou Conover and George Carman were engaged in a lively discussion. They seemed eager to keep to themselves at first. But as the evening wore on and the drinks continued to pour, their conversation grew louder and more animated. In time, a pair of men approached the duo. "George, Lou, good evening, gentlemen. Good to see you again." "Will Hand. I didn't know you were back in town." Lou greeted his friend enthusiastically and invited both men to join them. Will and his companion, a recent acquaintance called Osborne, pulled up chairs and sat down. Will explained that he had just come in on the train from New York that evening. He begged his friend's pardon, but he had overheard their conversation, and his curiosity was piqued. Will asked if they had in fact learned of the location of the fabled Steelman treasure. Lou and George reluctantly admitted that yes, this was the case. About 48 years prior, the Steelman family once owned considerable land in the central part of Atlantic City, New Jersey, which was at that time mostly sandhills. James Steelman, the last heir, was made a good offer for it and sold out for $3.50 an acre, or a total of $3,600. Besides that amount, he had also received, a few days previous, $2,800 for his family's share of a schooner. James Steelman's ship had come in, and he was rich. He planned to relocate to New York, abandoning the land where his family had lived for a century and a half. He made ready for his departure, but he feared he would be robbed of his wealth in the meantime by the men called wreckers, who infested the town of Brigantine northeast of Atlantic City, and who came past his cabin frequently. So, James Steelman decided to bury his money. Now, all this was known to the residents of Atlantic City, and speculating about the buried treasure had since become something of a local pastime. And Lou was convinced that Steelman had hidden his treasure in a long wooden box in a spot where now stood the new Coast Guard station. George thought the idea was ludicrous and not worth the effort at all. Finally, George rose from the table, a little unsteadily, called his friends fools one last time, and set out for his nighttime employment as an overnight watchman for a nearby warehouse. The others returned to their plans to liberate the long-sought Steelman treasure. Lou loaded some picks and shovels into his wagon, and just past 1 in the morning, he, Will Hand, and Osborne headed up the coast under the cover of darkness. Lou explained that Old Man Leeds knew the treasure was somewhere on his property, which is why he didn't want to sell out to build the Coast Guard station. They say Steelman buried all that gold near the shore, Osborne added. He was afraid that wreckers up by Brigantine would hear about his good fortune and come looking for it. Soon enough, he was right. These 3 hard cases came down from Brigantine to see Steelman. They heard his ship came in and that he sold out, and they wanted the cash, $6,400 in gold. But Steelman was stubborn. He refused to tell them anything. They threatened to take him from his cabin down to the beach and drown him in the surf, but still, he wouldn't talk. They struck him in the face and told him worse was coming if he didn't spill, and he hollered to wake the dead. The wreckers got scared one of his neighbors would hear.
Shut up!
And one of them hit the old man behind the ear with an oar. Steelman went down hard like a sack of coal. He hit his head against the edge of his table and lay unmoving in an expanding pool of blood. Well, the wreckers ran out in a panic without the gold, without so much as a penny to show for Steelman's murder. Well, I heard they cut off his fingers one by one, and both his ears to get him to talk, Will chuckled. That's not what happened, Osborne retorted. Nobody cut the old man. Nobody wanted to kill him. It was an accident. It was 50 years ago, Lou interrupted. Doesn't matter how Steelman met his end. What everyone knows is that he died and never gave up the location of his buried treasure. And it's still out there somewhere, waiting to be dug up. Soon, they reached the darkened Coast Guard station. Lou grabbed his old lantern and a pick, while the others grabbed picks and shovels. They headed towards the rear wall of the white-painted structure. Lou said he had learned the treasure was under the southeast corner of the building, and he held the lantern on the spot, while the others started to dig. They dug quickly in the sandy ground, and Will dug down 2 feet before his shovel struck something hard. They remarked in surprise. Will dropped to his knees and pushed the sand and dirt aside. And there was a long wooden box. With an excited shout, Will struck at the lid of the box until it split open. They could see it was filled with bulging sacks. "We're rich," Will whispered. "Wait, what is that?" Lou aimed the bullseye lantern's beam into the gloom. A single figure, its face bloodless white, stood noiselessly beside the darkened building, draped in a rotting shroud. The figure took a single step and reached out one hand towards them. Lou and his companion staggered backwards. "It's Steelman's ghost! Steelman's ghost!" Will cried out. "Ah, it's Bodkin! Save me, Lord!" He reached a trembling hand into his vest pocket and pulled out a derringer and fired at the apparition. George Carman fell backwards with a shout. Lou raced to his side. "Dear God, George, he shot you!" George frantically searched his person for a few moments. "The bullet passed through the shroud here. I'm not hit. Thank you, Lord Jesus, I'm not hit." "I'd say we were done with this game, George." Lou and George quickly confessed their prank to lure their friends to search for the treasure and then scare them, and they admitted to burying the box after filling it with sacks of stones. After separating from the others, George had wrapped himself in some old rags, applied white face paint, and rushed to the Coast Guard station, ready for the prank. Amid this explanation, Osborne, oddly, asked, "How did you know the right place to bury the box?" "Say, Lou," Will asked, "just how many people did you bring out here for the sake of a prank?" Lou began to answer, but the words died in his throat. Suddenly, he could see dozens of silent figures in a semicircle around them, backing them up to the building behind them. "How did you know where to dig?" Osborne repeated. "What do you mean?" asked George. "It's not yours," replied Osborne. "You have no right to take it. It belongs to the Steelmans. All of them. They will protect it. Old Man Leeds knew. That's why he stopped searching for it." 40 men, women, and children scowled, their eyes dark and pitiless. The light of the oil lantern turned dark red and flickered like a candle. George thought the light made it seem as if the building behind them was covered in blood. And one by one, each pick and shovel they carried split into pieces, showering the men with splinters. "If you're going to dig, you'll use your hands," Osborne growled. Osborne pointed to a bare patch of ground several yards from the building. The 3 men stood as if paralyzed. A faint whisper floated over the sound of the surf. "Dig." No one moved. A crashing wave turned into a terrible echoing roar from dozens of throats. "Dig!" Will Hand let out a yelp and punched through a window of the Coast Guard station. He climbed inside, cutting his hands badly, and crashed through the dark building looking for an exit. George and Lou rushed to the spot where Osborne had pointed and began to dig. Though they were quickly fatigued, they found they could not stop, and they dug for an hour or more in the red-tinged darkness until they were crouched in the bottom of a wide hole, fingers bloody, bodies exhausted. With a loud crash, the lantern shattered, as if struck by something heavy like an oar. When Lou climbed out of the hole, Osborne and the Steelmans were gone, as was his wagon, which Will Hand had taken in his panic. The decoy box they had buried was smashed into pieces against the wall of the Coast Guard station, but there was no sign of the hole they dug to bury it. Lou and George staggered back to town, arriving shortly before dawn. They never stopped looking behind them the whole way, and they never, even in jest, went looking for the Steelman treasure again. Back to you, Jill.
Thank you, Jennifer. What a chilling lesson in greed. Well, we've reached the end of tonight's broadcast. Remember, not all treasure glitters with gold. Some may be cursed with the past that still haunts the present. Until next time, I'm Jill Stanley. This has been a Common Mystics Media production in partnership with Access Paranormal Radio. Story by Dennis Brose. Want more mystics? Please check out our website, commonmystics.net. Follow us on our socials at Common Mystics Podcast. Listen to Common Mystics wherever you're hearing your favorite podcast. And please remember to download, like, and share. It means so much to us. Good night.
So that was the Common Mystics review. The Ghosts of Steelman's Treasure.
Yeah.
Very good.
I know.
So I hope you all out there enjoyed it. And thank you again to the Common Mystics. And we're looking forward to show number 4 next time, which is the end of October.
I cannot wait.
It might be a Halloween one they send us because it's the end of October, isn't it? So I'll get in touch with them and see. Yeah, I'll get in touch and see. Okay. So thanks again. Hope you enjoyed that, the Boo Review, which we have every single month.
Yeah.
Now, there's a subject I want to bring up, Jonathan.
Go on.
And it's one, when we do ghost hunts, we all take a lot of photographs.
Yes, we do.
We always have done, we always will do.
Yeah.
I mean, God help our children when we're not here, because all they're going to have is pictures of empty buildings, a chair in the middle of a floor, a K2 on the floor, and they're going to be wondering what nutters we are.
And about 3 or 4 shots of the same thing.
Yeah. It's true though, isn't it? You know, if you think of it logically, they're going to be looking through our photographs when we're the spirits.
I know.
And they're going to be looking at them going, what the hell has my dad been saying? There's a picture here of the middle of the woods with a white dot in it.
Yeah.
And they call it an orb. So, haunted...
20 of the same picture.
Picture? Yeah, but that's because it proves that it was there and then it wasn't there. Yeah. They're not going to look at it like that, are they?
No.
Dad, why have you got a picture of a plastic box on the floor with a piece of wire sticking out of it? But you know what though? It's only because we've got digital photography we can do that. If we'd have still been with the OWL 35mm and the 110s, it would cost us a fortune to get them done.
Oh my God.
And then imagine if you've got double exposure when you take photographs of double exposures.
Oh my God.
We'd all be convinced we've got paranormal ghosts. But it's true.
You'd need a warehouse for all the photos.
At least now you can go like that. Photo, scan through them.
What did how did they manage years ago then?
You put numbers on the back of the photos and then write on the envelope they come in, don't you? You know, Dad's pictures of Mill Street Barracks, 2001. 36 of them, at least there's not 500 of them right now.
With all your slates.
Yeah. It's like, at least then it was like 36 photographs, or what is it, 36, 24 and 12. You can never wonder why there was 24 and 12, you know, why wasn't it 10 and 20 and 36?
Yeah,
and 36, like and 36, yeah. If anyone can help us out with that, great. But at least they only had 36. Now you can take 500 photographs and not even think about it. Well, I do anyway,
about
don't
10
I?
seconds.
Yeah.
I love doing that to people's phones when they leave them lying around.
I do, yeah. James, we've done that to James Anthony once. But I take the photographs and I wait till about 2 o'clock in the morning, don't I? And I send them all.
Yeah, and send me them all, yeah.
He goes...
I'll just be lying in bed, just getting settled.
And I'll wait.
My phone goes.
Yeah. You just go ding, 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 ding. And I can take at least 100 photographs in one night, can't I?
One night.
And then Jonathan says, "Oh, send me the pictures. What you've taken." So okay.
Yeah.
And he always knows, and he regrets it, don't you, when you've done it? I do that to the family as well. So it's not just you; it's everyone.
I know.
But anyway, haunted photographs.
And
photographs in general, you know, paranormal. Now, I've heard, and it's very rare you hear anything like this, is someone I know was saying they can look at photographs and they can see people moving in them.
See people
moving in the photographs. The only time I'd ever see that if I was on something, which I don't do, or I get drunk, but I don't do that neither. But they say they can, when you look at
like
an
a
old
psychic ability.
you know, like you can go into a time slip and you go back in time and they're there. This is with photographs, and they said they can see people moving on the photographs.
Oh, well, that's a
And
bit.
it fascinated me at the time, and he said, yeah, when I look at a photograph, I can actually see somebody moving across the walking across the photographs, or the picture, or the video, the photograph comes alive.
Oh, isn't that strange?
Yeah, and it's hard to comprehend that.
Yeah.
But if you think about a photograph anyway, you've captured a fraction of the past.
It is like still time.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's true. And you're actually going, I always say, when you look at a photograph, you're going back in time. You've stepped back in time.
Well, it does do that. When you look back through old photos, you can think back to when that photo was taken, can't you?
You're back in time.
Yeah.
I always say, when you look at a photograph, you're looking into the past. You're actually there. You're looking at it.
Yeah.
You've captured
Definitely.
a fraction of the past.
Yeah.
And that's what photographs are. Even today, if I take a photograph now and look at it in an hour, it's a fraction of the past.
Yeah.
And that time on that photograph will never be again.
Oh, it's a strange thought, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
You've got me head going there, Jamie.
Well, if you think of it, now, what I'm coming to is photographs, which we take now, and we capture things we can't explain.
Yeah.
We've now gone, and it sounds a bit strange, it says, we've gone not only to the past, but we've also captured the present of the past.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
We've actually captured. We do apologise for the noise behind us. There is a paranormal group doing an investigation, which happens, so don't worry about it. We've actually captured the past, the present, with the past in it.
Got you. Right, okay.
Yeah, and it's a hard thing to comprehend, isn't it? Because we've captured a ghost from the past.
In a picture.
That was taken.
Past.
Yeah. No, we've captured a photograph of a spirit of the past in a photograph of the present. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So you've captured the past.
Yeah.
And you're probably all sitting out there, what the hell's he on about? But
No, yeah, I can sort of get my head around that, yeah. But it's similar to a time slip then,
it's a time slip. So we're going to go on to time slips in a minute, but if you think about it, have we captured a spirit, or is it a time slip?
Well, no, that's the question, isn't it?
It's a hard one to comprehend now, isn't it?
It is.
Because if you look at a photograph, right? If you take a photograph, sorry about the noise in the background, they're just moving rooms. We're just moving rooms. And somebody's just coming to our room as we're talking. So anyway, if you think of a photograph and we capture a spirit on a photograph, anybody catches a spirit on a photograph, right?
Yeah.
And I've never heard this, never heard of anybody thinking it like this before. Have we caught a spirit, or have we caught a time slip? Somebody from the past?
Well,
the only way you could think about that is if you could capture the spirit and know who that person is, then you capture the spirit.
Yeah.
But more often than not, we take photographs of spirits, of what we call spirits.
Yeah.
But we don't know who they are or what they are or anything like that. Have we photographed a time slip? Have we captured something from the past?
Probably have. I mean, there's a lot of science that can go into that as well, isn't there? An awful lot of science. I mean, you've got... taking a photo, you'd have to go into like the mechanics of taking photographs and all the rest of it, because it's it takes it at such a speed, doesn't it? So, is that all to do with the relativity of time?
It's not easy to say, is it?
It's not. But is that all to do with the time and the speed at which the shutter clicks?
Yeah. Like the ISO and things like that, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, or light.
Or the light. So is that all to do with it?
Yeah. It's very difficult to... When you look at photographs, it's very difficult to think like that, isn't it?
Yeah. At the end of the day, you only want to see the photograph, don't you?
Yeah.
So you don't think of any of that side of it. And especially with phones nowadays, no one really has cameras now.
No.
It's very, very rare. Everyone uses a phone. And they're so much different again, really, aren't they?
Well, it's gone from film to digital.
It has, but it's so much. I think it's so far advanced now that it's just getting ridiculous, isn't it? It's because it's so far advanced. Some of these phones now with the cameras, they have so many sensors on.
Oh, yeah.
They have so many sensors, and you're taking photos with so many different lenses, and I don't know.
It's difficult, isn't it?
It's a hard one to get your head around, isn't it? You'd have to look at it in a scientific.
Yeah.
I think looking at it in a scientific way, then it'd be very plausible to think that it is some sort of time slip.
Yeah.
And that's how it's being captured.
So that's going back to the person who I know who says, I haven't spoken to them for a while now, they can see movement in a photograph.
You could well believe that.
Are they seeing the movement of a time slip in the photograph?
Yeah. Well, it takes you back to where someone can pick an object up. What's that called? I can't remember what that's called.
Oh, and you can pick up the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can pick an object up and they can see where it's been, who's at hold of it, and
yeah, I can't think of the word for that.
Do you know what I mean? They can get a lot of information from holding an object.
But is that let's say about that? When I can't remember the word. You know what? You've got me thrown now because I can't remember the word. You pick up an object, and you pick it up, and you're looking at things. You can say, this belongs to so and so, blah 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 blah, like that. Records. You think of an old vinyl record.
Yeah.
It's a piece of plastic.
Yeah.
It's got grooves in it.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got a recording in it. It's got voices in it. It's got voices going round and round, songs, music. Picks up everything.
Yeah.
Can an object do the same?
Why not?
Can that... I know it's... I don't know what this is. It's one of your things anyway.
Yeah.
It's got grooves in it. It's got little edges in it.
It can play
Does
a sound,
that pick things? Yeah. If you do that...
It's a sound,
It's a sound, yeah. So
same principle.
It's the same with the stone tape theory, the walls.
Yeah.
And I seen, and this was years ago, and I seen someone doing something about these recordings. And they made a pot, and they put grooves in the pot like on a record player. They put grooves all the way around it. And I can't remember that he'd done it in that, but they actually done something, and they picked sound up on the pot, like their voices and noises, and that was on the pot. It wasn't a record player, it wasn't anything, it was just a pot. So if you can do it like that, you can do, it's like if you speak to my son Mark, he's into this vibrating stuff, he's phenomenal on all that, the vibrations.
So he would know all this, wouldn't he?
So he was talking about vibrations on speakers, and
Yeah.
you get these patterns. If you certain wavelengths, and you get the patterns perfect, you couldn't get any more perfect patterns.
Yeah.
He'll tell you the way of that as well. We're no experts on that. And if you think about it, the walls are vibrating.
Yeah, it's very, very true.
Things are vibrating around us.
Yeah.
Everything vibrates. We've got vibrations. Even like he was talking about water,
Yeah,
negativity and positivity, and that
that's right. Yeah,
it vibrates. So it must pick things up.
yeah,
You think of whales in the sea.
yeah.
They make a sound and it vibrates right the way
It
across that
travels for
water.
miles.
And you
doesn't
know, you jump in the water, and our ears are deaf,
it? You can't hear a thing.
but vibrations are there. Dolphins use vibrations. So,
What's the shell? The shell that you pick up and you can hear.
the cone, is it the con shell or the cone shell or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that?
shaped
Yeah.
like a cone,
And
isn't it?
you reckon if you put it to the ear, you can
You
hear
can
the
hear
sea,
the
yeah?
sea, yeah.
So there's sound. So there's got to be something in it that
Okay.
the walls are, if you can have the technology put against the wall, surely you can pick something else up.
Must be able to, mustn't you?
You put a glass to the wall, you can hear through.
Yeah,
So there must be vibrations coming through the wall.
yeah.
So there's things we
Why
can't
can't it
explain.
hold it?
Yeah,
I don't know, do you?
no. So there's a lot around all this, and we're going to go back to the first. I know we went off on a little tangent, which I said before we like doing.
Yeah.
Photographs are fascinating. We all take them, we all
Yeah.
use them, we all look back on them. And the more you look at a photograph with people, and the more you see photographs where they're saying, is this person from another time?
I've seen all them.
Yeah.
There's a set of about 40 pictures, and
Yeah.
the main one that comes up is the guy
In the middle of the...
in the middle of the crowd, and it was in like, I don't know, the 20s or 30s or whatever it was.
He's got
But he's
modern...
wearing like 80s or 90s clothes.
Yeah.
There was one with a woman, and that was like 50s or 60s, I think it was 50s or 60s, and she's walking past all these shops with a mobile phone,
Mobile
what
phone,
looked like a mobile phone,
yeah.
and talking on a mobile phone.
Yeah.
They weren't out.
So, again, is that a photograph that's captured the time slip?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? It's an interesting one. I'd like to hear anybody else's views on photographs, ghost photographs, anything like that.
Yeah,
It was just one of them things that came to my mind is,
yeah,
are we capturing time slips? Are we catching... Yeah, okay, there's going to be photographs where people are going to go, that's so-and-so, he passed away at this time and it's gone.
yeah,
No, I'm not arguing with that one. But when we don't know who they are or they're blurred or anything like that, are we capturing a time slip?
you could very well be onto something there,
Yeah.
Very much so.
It's one I've never... I was thinking about it and thinking about something, and you don't hear anybody talking about that.
No, you don't. You don't.
We can film it. People are saying that, we can walk into a time slip. We can hear the time. We can hear things like time slips. It was like a quick example, because we'll come towards the end of the show soon, is I think I've told this story before when I was in the other house. And you heard all this banging and crackling and sparks and God knows what. I heard them first, looked out the window, see all the sparks, see these people moving around and everything else. And called the police.
Yeah.
The lad who was on there the next day when I went down and seen him turned around and said, there's been nobody here at all, Jamie. I couldn't understand why the police came, because they came with the dogs and everything else. It'd been lashing down with rain that night. And he said there was no footsteps, nobody was breaking into anything and everything else. Sorry. And basically, somebody said to me, you've been in a time slip. Because nothing had happened. And I still can't get my head around it, because I did see people in that, in there. And again, same house, similar time at night, hear the steam train going along, really
the track
big,
at the
on the
end.
track at the end, yeah. Hear they going past the house and going down, really loud. You could hear this and everything else. Said to the lady at the end at the time who lived there, and I said, did you hear anything at the end of it? She went, no. I said, I heard a big steam train. She went, oh, that's because there used to be a railway line down the bottom there. And I was going, wow. Yeah.
That's crazy.
She's right.
Isn't it?
Yeah. It's very.
Mad.
Yeah. It's very strange, isn't it?
It is.
And that's the interesting side of like time slips and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. When we see a ghost, are we seeing it from a time slip?
I've always said this though, haven't I? I've always said, are we the spirit?
Who knows?
Are we the spirits? Are we just on a different plane? And they're still... This is why we see them, because it's sort of crossing over, so they're still living like in their time.
Mm.
And so they're still there, then they're still living the same as we are. It's just that our paths now and again cross.
Mm.
So we see them. And if that's so, do they see us?
Yeah. Well, there's a great film about that, isn't it, called The Others?
Mm.
And I always refer back to that one because that's a great one. And the other one was the one with I forgot his name now. Bruce Willis.
With the
know
girl.
what I'm talking about? The kid.
Yeah.
I See Dead People.
Yeah.
And that was phenomenal. Even today, that's a brilliant film because of the way it was done.
Because she didn't exist in the end. Was it her that didn't exist?
No, he was the one. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it
yet. It's an old film, isn't it?
It is an old film.
Yeah.
But, you know, these things, they're out there to question you all the time.
They certainly are.
And
they certainly are.
That's the fascinating about the paranormal.
Mm.
The scientific side of it. The entertaining side of it. The serious side of it. The fun of experiencing these things.
Yeah.
Was it real? Was it not real? Did I go into a time slip? Did I not go into a slip? Did I hear it? When you hear somebody saying your name.
I know, yeah. Which quite often happens
Which quite often happens, yeah. Is that from the past? Or is it because...
Or is it that person on the other plane, Jamie, that can see you
Mm-hmm.
and has seen you before and has heard your name being mentioned,
and you've just got
so they know?
Yeah. Mm.
Might not be anyone that knows you.
Yeah.
But because they've seen you that many times,
that they feel safe and we will call them, we'll let them know we're here.
Them time paths or planes or whatever you want to call it is where you keep passing all the time, and so they know who you are.
Yeah. It's a fascinating subject. I think it's something we've never really talked about on the show, and it's different, isn't it? Because it's a different show this week because we've dipped into a few things that we've never really talked about, and I think the photograph one is one which we'll bring up again sometime.
I think that's definitely a must. Definitely. Maybe get your Mark.
Get Mark in. I'll have a word with Mark and we'll see what he will come and see what he thinks of that.
Have a word and see if he'll, because he's been on the show before, hasn't he?
Yeah.
See if he'll come back on, and I'd like to hear his opinion
on that,
because he's a bit of an expert around all that.
Too good.
Yeah, but it'd be really interesting.
Puts us to shame.
I know.
I mean, when we took him to that cave,
I know, yeah.
And he said you shouldn't be doing a paranormal investigation here tonight, and well, at first we took no notice, but then it got very serious, and we moved away. You know,
definitely going back though.
Oh, 100% we're going back. Yeah. Well, anyway, Jonathan, I've talked that much that we've come towards the end of the show now. So,
right,
I've got to say, what a great night it's been.
Do you know, I've enjoyed this one.
So if anybody wants to watch our podcasts, get onto Access Paranormal Podcast, Access Paranormal Radio, and Access Paranormal Investigates on YouTube, and catch us also on Facebook, Access Paranormal Podcast.
Definitely.
We've got to go now. We'll see you again next week, or you'll hear us again next week.
Yeah.
So it's good night from Access Paranormal.
Good night.